Hello there. My name is Jack Girard, and welcome to Window on the World. I'm here today with my guests Karsten Gilbert and Chris Smith. Nice to meet you both.
Nice to have you.
Yeah, nice to have you. I heard you guys just went on the International Media Seminar over in Paris. I just wanted to ask, is this is your first time abroad?
It's my first time over an ocean abroad, yes.
Oh, where have you been otherwise?
I've been to Guatemala before.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's my first time ever leaving the country, period. So it was pretty exciting new experience.
Bit of a Joplin?
Yeah, first flight as well. Was terrified.
He did great.
Yeah. How'd you guys handle the jet lag? I know it's a bit of a trek across the Atlantic.
It really took a toll on all of us, I feel like. We landed in Paris, we took our bags to the hotel and hit the ground running on an adventure of Paris. And then we both, I think all of us, towards the end of the day, started to slowly get tired and then took 5-hour naps, and then from there got better. So
That's good to hear. So was it all sightseeing, or did you guys go to, you guys went to this seminar, of course. What did you guys think of the seminar? Tell me about that.
I loved the seminar. My favorite part was Eleanor Beardsley. I just thought it was impressive. She was just very impressive. She didn't decide on her career until she's like 30 or 40. I thought that was absolutely terrific. I loved that she went to Tunisia, which is, with the Arab Spring, and, they're the only successful country to pass through the Arab Spring, and I thought that was pretty cool that she had done that, went out there and did that.
Karsten, do you have a favorite speaker?
Yes, I'm actually a PR major. I went with a lot of mass comm majors. Being one of the 2 PR majors, I actually really enjoyed hearing from international luxury and lifestyle PR specialist that works for Edel and Edelman there in Paris, and I just was really intrigued with everything she spoke about. She does PR for perfume companies, sparkling water, champagnes, and I just thought that was really interesting to learn about and how the strategic plan of all that plays out.
And during your seminars, did you guys feel like you received some sort of a clarity on what you want to do with your careers? Did you learn any special tips you might not have learned otherwise?
Still way too much to decide. I feel like I have my whole life. I don't know what I want to do for my whole life. But I did think it brought more of a global journalism aspect to it. Like, I've always been into that, and my minor is also political science, so I've always been into global politics and stuff like that. So,
when in doubt, if you can't figure out what you want to do in life, go to Paris, and I'm sure you'll figure it out. Is a lot of what the guest speakers said. If you can't figure out what you want to do, move somewhere that you want to go. Maybe you'll figure it out there.
Do you feel like that'd be something you'd try?
I don't think so, but going to different countries and experiencing them and then bringing back to the United States would probably be what I'd like to do.
Excellent, excellent. So did you guys see any sights while you were there?
We saw all the sights.
All of them?
Pretty much all the sights you can think of in Paris, we saw, we conquered, and we did. I don't know if Chris has.
We saw the Eiffel Tower, of course. When we went up, though, I have a huge fear of heights, so I remember freaking out going up the thing, because when you go up in the elevator kind of thing, I don't know exactly what you'd call it, you could see everything, and it was just terrifying. I wanted to go down immediately, but then I got calmed down, and I guess it was still enlightening. I mean, Versailles was beautiful as well. It was all beautiful.
All right. French culture is very different from American culture. How did you guys feel about the shift over there?
It was definitely a big shift. I mean, we had to learn little etiquettes that we needed to know. S'il vous plaît, pardon, if you bump into someone, sorry, excuse me. Say please, at least try to speak French to give the respect to them.
One thing I loved, this is going to sound petty, I guess, I hate in American restaurants where they bother you every 5 minutes for a drink what you want. It's just annoying. And then in France, you had to kind of raise your hand and say, hey, can I have this water or something like that. They basically left you alone and let you talk with your friends or who you're eating with instead of them bothering you every 5 minutes.
Speaking of restaurants, what do you guys think of the food?
All right, I don't know if I can speak for Chris. I definitely lost some weight on this trip. The portions there are a lot smaller, which is good because, you shouldn't have a whole platter of food when you go out to dinner, but they really like the small amounts of food, and it was really good and tasteful, especially the crepes.
I've never had truffles before. Truffle cream pasta was absolutely amazing. Like, it was, yes, and I drink wine literally often, because not enough where I'm like bad. But
Of course not.
decent amount. Got to explore my horizons on wine.
I mean, it is wine country, so I mean,
Yes.
you took advantage of the opportunity. Did you both have a list coming into Paris of things you wanted to do, a bucket list?
Yeah, I think we had to before going over there. We made a list of at least 3 to 4 places we'd like to see or experience or go to.
Yeah, I agree. There was a lot of things I wanted to do, and I think we did a very good job of doing everything that I wanted to in the end.
That's really good. What was the highlight of the trip?
Maybe Versailles, or
Definitely Versailles.
yeah, it was absolutely beautiful. The gardens there were
The most
wonderful.
beautiful day, 65 degrees, after snowing all week. It was the best day to go.
Weather was rough over there then?
It was up and down, rain, snow. I think we experienced it all.
Yeah, it was funny because when I was starting to get warm here, it was cold there, and I mean, I'm not complaining. I was in Paris. I can't complain, but it was still cold, miserably cold, and I think a lot of us got sick after the trip a little bit because of it.
during.
Yeah, or during, like you.
Something went around during the trip then?
Something. We don't know what it was. Sinus infection, cold,
The plague.
the plague. Just something got to everybody. Exhaustion.
Yeah. So did you have much trouble getting around? How's public transportation?
We basically used the metro the majority of the time, or walked. I mean, it wasn't too miserable or anything. I had never been on a metro either, but I mean, that was new and exciting, but it wasn't too bad either.
Their transportation over there is something. I mean, you couldn't imagine a metro in Joplin to get you everywhere you wanted to go. So really experiencing the metro was really fun.
How are the people there? There's always that stereotype of the little bit uptight Frenchman. Was that true?
I think at times, but mostly it wasn't true. I think most of the time people were nice. I mean, there was the occasional person that was rude, but you come across that in the States as well. So,
I mean, I think if you follow their culture and you learn some of their language and you try to make that effort, I think they open up to you a little bit more. Whereas if you were just to walk up to a pastry shop and say, I want this pastry and that, then I think they'd be a little bit nicer to you and open up a little more.
just a simple bonjour and parlez-vous anglais. I mean, they would generally lighten up. I mean, if they didn't speak English, of course, they would still try their hardest, because you would at least try it as well.
Of course. So is that one of the etiquettes you mentioned earlier, the little just greeting them in French? Were there any other noticeable ones that once you stuck, you felt like an easier time?
Yes, pretty much saying bonjour, s'il vous plaît, merci, the simple please, thank you, excuse me, those little things really helped out. Whereas if you weren't to say that, they'd get probably a little angry at you.
I mean, I totally agree. I don't have anything else to add on that.
That's fair. Did you have any tourist moments where you just were overjoyed to see something?
I think the first time when we landed, we went straight to the Eiffel Tower, and that was we just got off a plane for 6, 8, I don't even know how long it was, and then just to see the Eiffel Tower, I mean, there she was. And so I think we were all really excited to see that.
It was a lot different than I would have expected, like the feeling was, it was pretty exciting to see everything we saw. It was very overwhelming to see everything.
How were the accommodations?
They were good. They were good. Very nice hotel.
I heard there was a protest while you guys were in Paris. How was that?
We weren't actually able to see it. It was the same protest that was here. I can't think of the name of the protest off the top of my head, though. But it was the same protest that was here. I mean, it was basically a global protest. And there was also a strike as well. I mean, that made going on the metro a little more difficult. Well, a lot more difficult, but other than that, it was...
Did you feel like there was anything you wanted to bring back to American culture?
Definitely the restaurant service. Definitely that.
Definitely bring better crepes back. Tell IHOP to make a better recipe for their crepes.
I didn't know there were such things as a savory crepe. Like I had a tuna crepe, a chicken crepe, a spinach crepe. I mean, as well as the sweet ones, of course, but I tried it all. Like, I didn't know that was the thing, living here, all I hear is syrup and cream cheese and stuff like that, so.
Mm-hmm.
What was an average day on the trip like?
It depended on, we usually based on all of our events on the seminar. If we were able to go to an attraction, like you guys went to the catacombs really early in the morning, and then they had a seminar in the afternoon, and then afterwards go and eat and go see somewhere else. That's usually what we just based everything off our seminar times.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys come away with a fun story?
Actually, I do have a hilarious story. I was at a jam store, and they had 2 cups, one for to taste it and one for to throw it away, but they were not labeled at all. So I took one, tasted it, and she yelled something at me in French I could understand. She grabbed the jar, threw it away, and that's when I realized that I had used the wrong thing, and I had apologized and everything, but I was just too embarrassed to even buy jam, so I left. But it was very awkward.
I think when I got pretty sick on the trip, cold, fever, I went to a pharmacy and tried to get just some plain NyQuil, and they don't have that there. They just have powder or syrup you put in your water to drink all day, and it took a long time to get over the sickness, but all that stuff really helped. It was just a different kind of medicine that I wasn't expecting to deal with.
That's really interesting. What was the impetus that pushed you both to go on the trip?
What was the what?
What was the impetus? What pushed you to take the trip?
One, I've always wanted to go to Paris. It's always been my dream destination to visit. And I really thought that, I really wanted to see some, global journalists and stuff like that, since I knew they would be at the seminar. And I thought all that was pretty exciting.
I mean, what more could you want going to the city of love, Paris, and then studying something you love a lot? I mean, that was kill 2 birds with 1 stone right there,
Mm.
So.
I heard you both received a grant to go to Paris. Did that help a lot?
Oh yeah, college students don't have all the money in the world, so definitely having some help from the university helped us get over there.
I agree.
All right. I know you both have to write a paper when you return to the United States about your trip to Paris. To my understanding, it helps the international institution understand what they could do better next time. What recommendations would you make to improve the next trip to Paris?
I don't really think it's something that the university could work on. I think, working with the seminar a little bit more and having more things organized and just having spot-on dates and confirmed times that the seminar were to be held on would be what I would
I'd like to notify you as well whenever things do change sporadically. Like that happened a lot, and sometimes it was, because we didn't have to show up to everyone, so sometimes we would show up to one at a certain time, and it's already been started like 15 minutes ago, or it starts, later on, and we're coming in the end of another one. Like, it was very irritating. It looks like we're just coming in late, or we're just being jerks.
Where were the seminars hosted?
The American University of Paris. Yeah.
What did you think of the American University of Paris?
I thought it was very nice, honestly. It looked pretty cool. We met some of the students as well. I mean, one was from Syria, and then another one was from South Africa. Both of them were working on theses about helping their own area. So
that's really interesting. So I understand that France is a country around a lot of other countries very different from itself. Its location in Europe is very important to it. In the United States, we don't have that. Was any of that reflected in your trip?
I don't
think so.
I don't really think so as well.
All right then. I know other schools were at the seminar. What did you think of them? How were they?
They're definitely very different from us, being from technically a smaller town from where they may have been. It was Bowling Green and Cali College, they definitely had some different, they're from different demographics, and so are we, so those kind of stuck out with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then. Did you feel like there was a general thematic takeaway from the seminar? Was there any particular theme that they really centered on?
I guess that, you know, you never know where your life's going to take you. It could take you anywhere. I mean, that was a lot of them, you know, not just Eleanor Beardsley that, you know, was 30 or 40 whenever she finally chose her career. A lot of them, you know, like either moved to Paris, like Karsten said earlier, or something like that, to where that led them on to their career. And they became very successful.
What would you recommend in preparation for a trip like this, having been through it now?
Definitely, no matter where you go, make sure you bring clothes for any type of weather and learn how to roll your clothes on YouTube.
I definitely agree with that.
Do either of you have further plans to travel abroad?
Oh, I don't think so. I can only take so much.
I think I want to travel abroad more. I mean, when I have more money, of course. I can't just afford to constantly travel right now. But if I can find a cheaper way, yeah, I might travel more.
If another student asked you that they were considering going on the trip, what would you have to say to them?
I'd tell them to go for it. Definitely do it. It's definitely something, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, especially when you're a student, to get it at a very decent price, and what other chance are you going to have later in life to go to Paris and study at another university?
Yeah, it's a once-in-a-lifetime situation. Like, you're not ever going to be able to do that same thing again, you know. I mean, you are, but, I mean, yeah, it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, so, and very new experiences.
Was there a moment that stuck out to you that, when you first arrived, what was your immediate thought when you looked around and saw Paris?
I needed a nap.
Like, my first thought was, I'm in Paris, what? Like,
I definitely needed a nap before I did anything.
what was it like? We left at 6 a.m. and then the next day we were at 6 a.m. in Paris.
It was.
Of course, there's, you know, time difference, but it was pretty hectic.
Did you have any closing thoughts on Paris as the trip began to wind down? Did you think, I really wish I had seen X, or?
I wish I had more time in some museums. Like, the Louvre was just so massive that you can't just do all of that in, the 6 hours we were there?
Yeah.
I mean, I absolutely love museums, and I wish we were there longer just so I can see that more. But it was absolutely amazing.
I think no matter what kind of vacation or city abroad trip that you're on, there's never enough time to do everything that you want to do, everything that there's time to do for. So, more time, for sure.
All right, then. Did you see anything in Paris that you'd seen in a picture before that you didn't, that in real life is just much different? I mean, I remember you mentioned the Eiffel Tower. I didn't know if there was anything else.
The Mona Lisa, like, I hate to say this, I've seen on pictures on the internet my whole life. I didn't think it was that impressive to see. I know that sounds very, very lame. I'm like, I've seen this before. I saw it, I'm like, okay, I saw it. Okay, let's go see these other things when we went to the Louvre. And I know that's dumb to feel that way, I guess, but I've seen it, you know?
Definitely, I'd have to agree on the Mona Lisa. Like, you go up, you take a picture with it, and then directly right across from the Mona Lisa, there's this other giant painting, and the Mona Lisa's pretty small compared to the other painting. You thought it would be bigger, it'd be more, but it wasn't.
All right, then. Do you think if later on in your career you were invited to be a speaker at a presentation like one of those, you'd take it?
Definitely.
I think it depends on where I was at in my career, but yeah.
Well, I think that'll do it for us today. Thank you both for coming. And thank you for joining us again on Window to the World. This has been your host, Jack Girard.